Detroit's a fascinating one. I've been on this kick this last week of really trying to make them be a trade partner with Carolina, because they are going to land a unbelievable player no matter what in either the second spot or the sixth spot. So I feel like, given how many needs they have, I mean, you can go edge rusher, right? They could look at quarterback here, or more likely the 31st pick in the draft. They need the whole defensive backfield needs redoing, and they could look at Kyle Hamilton. But I think any of those elite guys you go through, if you say to yourself, okay, I love Cross, I love Hutchinson, I love Thibodeau, I love Kyle Hamilton, you start rattling through the names, well, they would also be there at 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. So if I'm Detroit, my first instinct would be to say, all these players are excellent. Let's gather another asset. This is a long-term rebuild, and an asset that might allow us to get from 31 back up to, I don't know, 20, 21. If those receivers go off the board and someone in that range doesn't get the receiver they want, I would be trying to get as much flexibility with my second pick, knowing no matter what, I'm getting a elite player in that top 10 range.
Yeah, I mean, if Aiden Hutchinson isn't the first pick, then I don't think there's been a player born who best suits or better suits Dan Campbell than Aiden Hutchinson. You know, local kid, Michigan kid, dad played at Michigan. You know, is there a more perfect fit for Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions than Aiden Hutchinson? So I think if the Jaguars do surprise, they go Neal, they go Walker, whatever. I think they'll absolutely run to the podium. I mean, I think for me, you've just got to look at that defensive line list, and I'll just pop my glasses on so I can read it. But Eric Banks, Michael Brockers, Jayshon Cornell, Bruce Hector, and then obviously Alim McNeil on Wazariki, and John Penisini are their defensive linemen. I mean, I don't think you can look anywhere else than that position.
No, I think there's a tendency with people, right? And he was the favorite there for like a fortnight stretch, just the way these things work. We all get into group thinking, we just find consensus for a fortnight. Then when someone says something different and we all shift our opinions too. You know, there was the Kyle Hamilton thing, as you mentioned before, will it be the highest safety's ever drafted? And because of his versatility, 6'4", middle of the field range, this is a player who could genuinely be someone who transforms what we expect from that position because of where the game is going. Someone who can kick down into the box, who can slide into the slot, who at 6'4", if you isolate him on the backside of coverage in 3x1, it would not be that wild. He can body up anyone basically, and then of course can play from the middle of the field. So you can talk yourself into that, but I don't know how I think of team building at those premier assets, whether it's a big contract in free agency or it's a top 10 draft pick, you have to impact the line of scrimmage in the first 3 seconds. That's just where the NFL is now. And as much as I think Kyle Hamilton is an unbelievably special player, when you read off those list of names and the defensive line, what's going to happen here is you're going to take an all-time special safety and you'll all be out of a job in 2 years because you couldn't impact the ball until it was past his ear hole, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, Hamilton, long, athletic, great instincts, you know, 6'4", 219, ran a 4.59, and people are suddenly like talking about, oh, he's slow, and he can't. You know, I saw one well-known draft analyst today saying he can't get sideline to sideline, he's stiff, and it's like, dude, I mean, tell me you've watched like the Florida State game, or tell me you watched the Clemson game, or, you know, because this is a guy that can just, you know, get across 3/4 of the field to make a diving pick on the sideline, not just, you know, half field. So he is a really good player, but I just think it has to be defensive line, you know, and whether that's Thibodeau, whether that's Hutchinson, whether that's Walker, I think it's got to be one of those guys. I don't think with Taylor Decker and with Penei Sewell, you look at the offensive line. I think 2 is way too high for Sauce Gardner. I think 2 is too high for a quarterback. I think it's got to be defensive line, and best available defensive line. If Aiden Hutchinson falls, it has to be Hutchinson. And I think if it's not, the battle becomes Walker or Thibodeau. And, you know, it just depends on where they have them you know, ranked.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would take Hutchinson. I expect, obviously, if he's there, they'll certainly take him on draft night. I do think that is what will happen. I know I don't, because I said before Hutchinson will go first overall. So they'll take Walker. They scream as the team that's leaked, as we discussed on a recent show about Thibodeau, that they also have the same Nick Caserio thing, where that they so believe in the football guy principle of life that they do not like that Kayvon Thibodeau likes to, I don't know, engage on Instagram or whatever his great crime against football is.